gentlemen, another classic show. The So What Morning Show is in the building. We about to get crazy up in here. Man, Mondays will never be the same. This is the show that's starring you. You better get to your phone lines right now. That's 855-878-4652. That's 855-878-4652. Zoe's in the building. Let's get to it. We got the community empowerment segment. It's about to be crazy up in here. You know I like to promote books. I like to promote businesses. So let's get right to it. Dr. G always brings great books. I think you guys should support it. ASAP, get there. Is it Amazon? I don't care where it is. Kindle, find it. The 6 Secrets of a Lasting Relationship. How to Fall in Love and Stay There. Dr. Mark Goulston and Philip Goldberg. Come on. Support his work. Support the brother's work. He'll be here shortly to weigh in on a very heavy topic. Go get the book. Also, Just Listen by Dr. Mark Goulston. Very important book. We promote it every week. It's important that you go out and support. Why? Because we're trying to change your life, make your relationships better. And of course, my book, The Rebirth of Seeds. You can find my book at my website, IamZoeWilliams.com. Please, please, please go to the website, support the movement, IamZoeWilliams.com. Now, I'm moving quickly because we've got heavy hitters in the building. We've got heavy hitters in the building. Wait. One more book. Miracles Are Made, a real-life guide to autism. Lynette Louise. She's a special guest on the show today. She brought a big, giant prop and everything. It's going to be crazy. Please support her work as well. Right? Miracles Are Made. Very good book. And for the topic, there's some books I need you to go get. Very important. You know, anybody who follows the show knows that our fans have put together a complete listing of all of the books we've ever promoted. We have a So What book list online. So expand your library, expand your mind, your belief systems. Here's a book that ties into our topic today. In Sheep's Clothing, Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People. How about this book? Emotional Blackmail. When the people in your life use fear, obligation, and guilt in order to manipulate. Susan Forward. Get the book. And here's another. Who's Pulling Your Strings? How to Break the Cycle of Manipulation and Regain Control of Your Life by Harriet Breaker. Go get the books. It's what I do. I got to keep promoting. Now, with that said, heavy hitters in the building. You're about to see the lineage of Zoe Williams in this mug. Don't tell me he went to the family archive and pulled out some inspiration for you. Yes, he did. Uncle Ben, the real Uncle Ben, not the one who made the rice. Uncle Ben, my my sister's brother. This man right here is like a dad to me when my dad wasn't there. Come on, man. This is the dude who said, come here, man. Let me go get you these tennis shoes and put you in the YMCA because you got skills. Let's put this dude on the show right now. My Uncle Ben Walker Sr. is in the building with his business associate, Mr. Tyrone Hooks. And they have some amazing business to share with us about Africa Trade Link and Expo. I keep telling you, I'm about community empowerment, and now we got somebody here that's going to tell us something about community empowerment with the brothers here in America, with the brothers in Africa. Can you talk to me about this, huh?
Well, first of all, it's time. It's time to connect the East with the West.
Yes.
Our organization we set up an organization by the Africa Trade Links and Expo. We're doing a conference in Nairobi, Kenya, for the purpose of connecting the East with the West. I'd like to turn this over to Hakeem right now. My voice is really killing me. Let me get some water, and I'll be back.
You scared? My uncle, I ain't never seen him scared. He can talk up a storm. Now all of a sudden, his throat is dry. Brother Hooks, talk to me about this conference.
Okay. Just to put it succinctly, looking at the connection between what's going on in Africa with small businesses and how they're trying to develop and build their economies. We're trying to connect that with, for example, our communities here that actually need the same things that they need. They need jobs, they need skills, they need to build their community. And we're the link as Africa Trade Link to try to connect that together. And we're dealing with small and medium businesses, and that's the side of business that really has been left out of the big corporations, and you know how they do business, but we're actually trying to establish and develop that area of business. How
can one participate in the expo here in America? Like, where do they go? Where do they connect? How do they do this?
Okay, they would go to Africa Trade Link and Expo.org. Africa Trade Link and Expo.org, all over the globe. You go there, it will show you how you can participate as a person who wants to register, as a person who wants to be an exhibitor, or as a person who wants to be an advertiser, or in the likely event that they have the kind of financial funding that's necessary, they can be a sponsor.
Well, tell me this, what kind of businesses here in America or in Kenya would benefit from this particular expo? What kind of businesses would say, hey, if I open my product up to this African community, what kind of business would explode if they were there at this expo?
Okay, at this point, it's very simple. Most of the businesses that are here that would have, for example, you have small construction companies that are building housing, that are building commercial space, also water purification, people who are involved in water purification, people who are involved in solar energy, because there's a lot of even that in the community.
What about real estate?
Well, real estate in the sense that you can develop, for example, plots of land, and then you can subdivide, and then you could set up.
So this is a very powerful conference.
It is.
Uncle Ben, talk to me about the Obama administration's policies regarding these types of conferences.
Well, the president took a trip to Africa about 6 months ago, and he took that trip to Africa not for just a pleasure trip. It was really to start establishing these foundations where these businesses can link by making the dollars available through OPEC, through the X&M Bank, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the thing.
I know you're sick. It's okay.
No, I'm not sick. I mean, I'm going to deliver. Got to deliver. The bottom line is that small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone to develop, and underdeveloped economies. And Africa is the same. But now that lends an opportunity for small businesses to connect with small businesses in Africa through the platform that we put together called the ATL. The ATL is a platform where where people can start developing relationships first. And then as a result of developing these relationships, then that becomes businesses.
Wow.
And our other emphasis is that we vet both businesses on the African side and on the U.S. side to make sure they've been cleared by the governments to do business with one another.
And since everybody else is in Africa, China, all of the European countries, even the Catholic Church has a very strong hold there. Since everybody else is over there, it makes sense to create a bridge between African Americans and Africans to go over there and try to benefit from some of the vast resources, correct?
Well, our cousins are ready to do business for us.
They ready?
I mean, for example, Africa is about 50 years, probably about 50 years since they got their independence. But just imagine living in America in 1950. It was kind of slow. But here, everything is moving very rapidly.
Wow.
On a rapid pace.
Wow.
They're inviting the Chinese in, but then they want us to come in and manage to control those projects for longevity.
Wow.
And sustainability.
Wow.
They're actually out actively recruiting us for that purpose.
Wow. I'm trying to tell you, community empowerment. Once again, I want to thank Brother Hooks and, of course, my uncle, Mr. Ben Walker Sr. I really appreciate you. Really quickly, one more time, where can people find this information? Is there an online source? Could you guys tell us?
Yes, we go to Africa Trade Link and Expo.org.
Wow. Once again, I appreciate you guys for taking the time to come out and support us, and I'm glad we could support your movement, and you guys got to come back soon. Yeah?
Absolutely. We appreciate coming back.
Absolutely.
And so I'd just like to say that you do the family well.
I do the family well?
Yes.
Thank you, Big Hug.
We're proud of you.
So with that said, really quickly, I want to promote a couple of more pieces. You see the suit. You see me sharp. Hey, I don't do Easter, but I do the day after, right? Let me tell you, I'm creating a line of suits. This is part of my line called the Line of Succession. We've got to bring royalty back to black folks. The Line of Succession. Play the video. These are the people who did my suit. Hiploose.com, man. Tailored, bespoke. You know what it is. It's icy. Go to hiploose.com. Any suit, any line of clothes you want done, these master tailors will cut it, sew it, stitch it, have you looking cold as ice. You see how I am. It's frostbit up in here. You feel me? You got to support them. Hiploose.com. They did mine. I didn't wear my lapel flower because it kind of clashed with my tie that I picked out personally. However, they do it all. I want you guys to support them and support me. They're working on a line of clothes called The Line of Succession by Zoe Williams. It's going to be cold, man. This is just the first look in that line. Also, I want you to go to ramomart.com and support that brother's artwork. This dude is the Black Michelangelo. Look at his shirts, man. Egyptian fashions. And let me just say, he's not one-dimensional. He's doing Indian. He's doing Buddhist. He's doing Romans. He's doing Christian. He's doing every culture's artwork on a line of T-shirts. The dude has high-end suits and belts and jackets, and he's cold too. So please support Ramomart. And then finally, a neuro-linguistic programming system that undoes Jim Crow, that undoes Willie Lynch, a sister out of the Bay Area, created a neuro-linguistic program that undoes all of the effects of Jim Crow and self-hate in the black community. It's called the Black Mastery Program.
And one of the greatest tragedies in life is getting to the end of your life and looking back and realizing it was mediocre, and it didn't have to be that way. The number one reason is people are unwilling to listen and care about what's important to the other person. But what if you could be someone who dared to care about everybody in your life? When you're in love, smoke gets in your eyes. But when you're anxious, you talk more than you listen. I asked my wife a month ago, I said, I don't know whether to have an affair or buy a motorcycle. And she said, if you have an affair, I'll kill you. If you get the motorcycle, you'll kill yourself. Go with the bike. So I have a great tip for today's topic, which you're going to pick up after I give you my great tip. Now, great is spelled GRT. And what GRT stands for are givers, receivers, and takers. So here's the tip. Look at all the people in your life, and you're going to identify them as givers, receivers, and takers. The givers, when you give to them, they naturally reciprocate. They just do that. The takers, you give to them, and you ask for anything in return. They have better things to do. The interesting people are the receivers. The receivers, you give to them, they don't naturally reciprocate, but if you ask them, they will. So don't get your feelings hurt by giving to a lot of receivers. Many of them are just trying to survive. So identify the givers, and those are people you should hang out more with because they lift your spirit and you don't feel ripped off. The receivers, don't pout, don't get sullen that they haven't said thank you. Just ask them for something. And I like to have fun with the takers. In fact, there's a book I was going to write. I'll give the title away because I'm writing 3 other books. And it's called Get Even plus 10%. That's a bestseller. And so that's how you deal with the takers. And anyone wants to write it, call me. So the takers, when you identify them, what's cool is let them say whatever they're going to say. And then when they finish, what you say to them is, that reminds me of a favor I want to ask you. And they'll say, what? No, you asked me to do something, and I'm happy to do something, but what you're asking me is for favor, which means I get to ask one in return.
That's right.
You know, and one of my favorite maneuvers, because I'm trying to get even plus 10%, is sometimes I'll get snowed by a taker and taken in, and then I realize in my gut, this is a taker. And one of the things I say to them, I say, one of the types of people that I really can't stand in the world are Indian givers, and I just became one. And they say, what?
Wow.
I said, remember what I just told you I was going to give you? It's off the table. So go have fun with them. Get even plus 10%.
Wow. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's intro the topic.
Can I, before we enter the topic?
Before?
Before.
Is there something?
Yes.
What had happened, Geoff?
On the subject of
What
giver,
have you done?
receiver, and taker. Okay. I must give you an apology for last week. Because I rode you hard and put you away wet. I shouldn't have done that.
And put you away wet.
Yeah, rode hard and put away wet. That's a horse term.
No, but fortunately, I have ADD flirting with Alzheimer's, so I don't even remember. I have trouble remembering where to park.
You know how sometimes we get on the conversation of the evils of Whitey, and that can take up a 5-6 hour show, and we only got 2 hours. So I sometimes make you guilty for all of the sins of the people who have sent me, and I can't do that because I love you. I love you. So I'm giving you.
You like this white one?
I like this one.
This
like
white one is
when
okay.
the revolution starts,
Whitey
I got
locks
the doc.
Is okay.
I got the doc plus 2.
So you hiding
I'm gonna hide
Whitey
the doc
locks in
plus
the
2.
basement.
I'm gonna have the doc and 2. That's
Bring your
all I got.
wife.
Don't bring 3, 4. Bring 2. Them others
Noah's
on their own.
apartment.
Yeah.
So instead of get even plus 10%, it's get Whitey Locks plus 2.
Yeah, it's
Hilarious.
I'm with you.
You're gonna
Okay.
be on DeAndre Schindler's list.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah,
listen,
I love you, man.
Man, thank you for doing that, Geoff Brown. That's stand up. That's
Look here,
real man
I did it on the
business.
air. I'm gonna apologize on the air.
Wow.
Grown ass man. All right.
So with that said, let's intro the topic. The Tao of manipulation. Has this become the world's and relationships' most practiced belief system? Are we all just manipulators, users, usurpers of everyone's resources? I've got questions.
Sheet of paper, please.
Oh, goodness. Is emotional abuse,
Damn paper, you're just a taker.
right, a type of manipulation that can be the hardest to overcome and the hardest to detect? What's the number? 855-878-4652. Is an emotionally abusive and manipulative lover / spouse a telltale sign that your lover or husband or wife could be a psychopath? I mean, people label it psychopath. I don't know. I think I ain't gonna tell you what I think. Are the victim-minded people the best manipulators? People who play the victim role. That's their position in every situation. Are those the best manipulators? Somebody call us. Who's the best at manipulating? With regards to gender, men or women? I think Frank the engineer knows that answer. Look at him. I've been manipulated my whole life by that broad. Somebody call us. 855.
I'm out of money and now it burns when I pee.
Oh no.
Can master manipulators be linked to mental illness? A lot of people like to do that. Narcissism is considered a mental illness, right? And narcissists are considered to be master manipulators too, Right? I don't know.
Lady was roller skating. She fell down. I ran up to her and said, I'm okay.
Who are the world's most effective manipulators? Very good question here. Politicians, preachers, parents,
Or babies.
spouses, babies, pimps, or marketing and promotion specialists. Manipulation is ubiquitous, right? So why is it a problem? If everybody has it, I remember Dr. G told us, narcissism is so pervasive on the globe that they took it out of the DSM, right? Well, let's just take it out. Everybody's fucking nuts, right? If that's the case, why are we doing a show about manipulators? It seems to be pervasive, and it seems to be how we get down, right? If that's the case, let's get into it. We've got guests. Let's introduce our first guest. She's in studio. She drove from Madagascar, I'm told.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Texas, right?
Same thing.
Pretty much.
Cheese, right? She brought a giant brain to this. It's here. I wish you could see it. It's a giant brain.
It's huge.
That's a big ass brain.
Wow, that is.
Don't hurt yourself. Yes. There's a giant brain in the studio right now.
That's Brett's brain from Pulp Fiction.
Her name is, we're going to call her a doctor before she gets it, but she's right there. And she's working. I mean, she's a nat poot away from doctor, from PhD, right? Her name is, we're going to call her Dr. Lynette Louise, also known as the Brain Broad.
The Brain Broad.
Right. She's raised 8 kids, 6
kids.
were adopted, and 4 had a myriad of brain disorders. I don't know how she was able to navigate those children's minds, but she did it, and she's here to talk about manipulators. Let's go deeper. Welcome to the Voice of Reason.
Thank you so much.
The
for
Zoe
having me.
Show.
God bless you.
It's okay.
She
God
adopted
bless you.
6
Wow,
kids.
wow.
Well, thank you. See, I can put you on the nice side right off the bat. But let's back up a little bit, because you were saying this thing about white people, and I'm white, and I'm sitting over here.
You got to prove yourself.
I'm in the hot seat. Are
No,
you
you're not.
manipulating me?
No.
Are you trying to right off the bat get me in the
Are
discomfort
you playing the
zone?
black community victim card?
Let me be real clear. I'll come straight up the street with my shit. Okay? You have nothing to do with the white people. The white people I'm talking about, they ain't going to have nothing to do with you, because you regular. I'm talking about the power elite that none of us know. That's why y'all, yeah.
Regular
All right, I
white.
just had to get
Regular
that
white
clear
folks.
before.
No, I don't have a problem with regular white folks.
That's interesting. Regular white.
Regular white folks, I don't have a problem with.
Great.
Off-white.
I'm almost Dr. Regular White Folk. Well,
Yeah,
I am
white
ready to tell you about manipulation right here and right now.
So I asked a lot of questions. Let's get into it. Like, victimhood, right? Is that like the hallmark of a manipulator? Can we go into that?
Well, actually, maybe we should define manipulation.
Please.
You really can't do anything if you don't make a definition. And
Please.
the fact is, to manipulate is to maneuver something. So I can take a screwdriver and I can manipulate it to get the screw to go in. So the word manipulate has been given connotations. And we have a problem with semantics in our society anyways. We take a word that is a beautiful word that has great meaning and that's kind of a natural phenomenon in human beings, and every cell of your body has been designed to try and control. And so to manipulate is a good thing. In fact, it's a child's job. If a child cannot manipulate his environment, he can't get control of it. He can't learn from it. So manipulating in and of itself is not a bad thing. So let's get that clear so that we can then say, well, when is it good and when is it not good? Do we even want to use value judgments? I try to avoid them, but I'll go there with you. I'll play.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to put a value judgment on it, then I would say, yes, if you're into victimhood, you are drawing. I have this thing that I like to explain to children. If I pull my fist, you'll naturally respond. You'll run or you'll duck. So if you run or duck, some people will pull their fist. And they are a dance that go together.
Wow.
With the music.
It just
The
sounds
yin
like
and
the
the
human
yang of the
condition
pulled fist.
is about manipulation. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, more questions, more insights, more guests. It's about to get crazy. The Zoe Morning Show, we in the building. We'll be back at 2.2.
The greatest terrorist is not Al-Qaeda or Osama bin Laden. Those are just fictions of the imagination. The greatest terrorists are actually media. I'm going to say it again. The greatest terrorist is media, mass media, the mainstream and the alternative. That's the greatest terrorist. This includes alternative news, too. The alternative news, truth movement mouthpieces that terrorize people with all these fear-mongering propositions of global domination and control by the Illuminati. My wife is smiling at me. See, I've been through all of the propaganda, too, myself, too, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get upset, either. Don't get upset. No need to get upset, because I've been there. I don't want to get emotional, because that's what it's all about. It's about emotionalism. Reptilian shapeshifters is about emotionalism. FEMA death camps is about emotionalism. H1N1 and swine flu and bird flu is about emotion that cause you to react emotionally. There's no need to be emotional, ladies and gentlemen. See, I've been through all the propaganda, and we're going to get into some of those propaganda pieces, like the Y2K and the global financial collapse. Well, whatever happened to Y2K anyway? And the FEMA death camps and coffins and massive population reduction, the BP oil spill, the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time, both the mainstream and the alternative news, that's nothing more than a psyops, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't real. Mainstream news, they say there's a massive oil spill. Alternative news, there's a massive oil spill. Alternative news, they take it a step further because they create even more boogeyman. So for the mainstream, this is just BP. Okay, you should be mad at BP. Alternative news, they create even more. They always do this. Alternative news, they just build, they fear monger. So they say it's BP. Yes, be fearful of BP. But you also need to be fearful of Corexit because they're spraying this on this mass amount of oil that no one ever saw. And that Corexit is being used for population reduction. Oh, now you need to be fearful. Now, okay, now you got it. And it's an inside job. BP oil spill. Now you got to be concerned with the government too. BP, British Petroleum. You also got to be fearful of people, whoever it is, the military industrial complex, whatever it is, spraying this Corexit for population reduction. You got to be fearful of the government. You got to be fearful of all type of things now. Just fear mongering. I call this mass media fear mongering.
Or mass media stuttering.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I'm afraid of whatever drug he did before.
Way too many syllables he was trying to get out at once.
Uppers.
Wow. But he did bring up a point. Now, I'm not going to question the BP oil spill. I don't have to go to the Gulf to know that some terrible shit happened in the Gulf with BP and oil. I don't have to go there to know that.
Fish oil a whole different name.
We don't have to jump into the Pacific to know, that Fukushima, what is that over there? Yeah. Radioactivity. We don't have to go to Chernobyl.
No. I don't have to glow to know.
I don't have to glow to know. How about that? So, but he brings up some valid points. The media manipulates. We get a neutered diet version of news that tells us what to think as opposed to what's actually going on, right? Is that not true? Fox News has a position they hold, right? And so do the other MSNBCs and all of that. They're telling us, what to think. They're not really reporting what it is, right? So let's talk about that. Manipulation in the media is manipulation. Brain broad. Right? She brought a brain in here that's pink ass convolutions. Right? Brain broad, tell us, right? Is there good manipulation? Is it good that the media can manipulate us to keep certain things out of the way?
Does everybody's brain have a pink ass?
Well, I think we'll save the brain ass stuff for after I answer the manipulation part, because I don't want to distract anyone and get their pheromones going. So let's go straight to the concept of, is manipulation good or is it bad? Manipulation's just manipulation.
It's like fire.
Right. It's what you do with it. Right. So a baby is born and they cry and they have the mother that runs over and feeds them every time they cry. The baby learns to cry. You have the baby who gets fed on a schedule. That baby learns something different. They're learning to manipulate their environment. If they do not learn to manipulate their environment, they may starve. It's an important part of who we are. Jump way over to when you got a teenager. One of the things I used to say to my teenagers is, they'd say, can I borrow the car? And I'd say, what do I get out of it? Now, I taught them to manipulate, but I taught them to manipulate me in a way that was straight in their face and said, look, manipulate me, make me want it, make me want it, make me want it, make sure I get something, make sure I'm that whole giver and receiver. Right. The problem is that in our society and most societies, we fight what's already organically there. We call it bad, and we try to change it, and then it gets warped. And you end up in this media mess nonsense that you have.
Dr. G, you had some points, and I also want you to go into a little bit about emotional blackmail as well, but go into your points you had.
Is it Lynette?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
the brain broad.
The brain broad.
BB. LL BB.
No, I think she makes a good point. It depends what the desired outcome of the game is. So I think bad game playing is when you're trying to get more than you need and more than you deserve. That's
everybody.
Well, no. I mean, if you
Let's be absolute about it.
No, if you are truly needful, as opposed to claiming to be, then if you're starved and you got to eat to live, then that you do whatever you can. You manipulate whatever you can, or else you're going to starve. But I think it's bad when the game you're playing serves your ego and serves greed and serves your wanting to take advantage of other people.
Brandi, can you save me here? Because it sounds like he's describing mostly everybody we've ever met. It's a rarity that you find somebody that's like, hey, I don't want anything.
For God so loved the world.
Well,
It's a rarity.
It's very rare, but it does happen. But
Of
we do
course.
live in a world where greed is like prevalent, and in order to get what people want, people are just greedy and they manipulate you. And you got to learn. I think you got to learn to see the manipulation coming.
We've been manipulating women for years.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to pattern my behavior off of your beliefs, because I know you're looking for a behavioral confirmation. I think this way. Most men don't articulate how we feel as well as women. We're not the best talkers about it. Most of us. There's some out there that are really good, but most of us speak behaviorally. You Christian? I'm Christian. Let's go to church. You're into the gentleman? I'll pull the chair out, right? I'll push it back. I'll pick up the tab. I'll do everything I need to do until I get.
It is all
What I want,
Pavlovian. It's
right?
all Pavlovian
Yes.
for the panties.
So that's manipulation, is it not?
Yeah.
And I want you to be very, very good at that manipulation, please.
I don't.
Wow.
I
just
don't.
think we don't interface with our real selves. I think it's this dance, this game that Dr. G. Is it all game? Are we all gaming each other for whatever resources we think we need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think what happens is you get taught to do that incorrectly, and then you go ahead and you game until you get her, and then you go, okay, now I want to be myself. You go ahead and be yourself.
And then they hate you.
Right.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Not the guy I picked.
I picked a stereotype or a concept or a fantasy. That's why I always tell women, don't date your ideas unless you've challenged them, right? Most people don't challenge their ideas. Usually the idea is born out of some need, some hurt, some trauma. Then you create this construct, this coping mechanism.
This gauntlet.
And remember we said most people are dating a coping mechanism. They project that thought process out. They attract that person to it. And you really never interface on an authentic level. It's coping mechanisms, kissing and humping and trying to build.
But do you think that's absolutely the case?
I think that's absolutely the case,
Well,
Brandi.
okay then. So,
FYI, I manipulate children from illness to health. I use it purposefully.
Let's hear this.
Right.
Go deeper.
Well, I travel internationally, globally, and I work with brain disorders, and my intention is to change behavior. The way you change behavior is through the manipulating of the rewards. And the way
Say
that
more.
okay, so for example, if I see a child, I walk in and I'll give you an exact example. I walked in and I met this young man, and he licked my hand, so I licked his, and he said, ew, and I said, well, I thought you liked it. You licked my hand, so let's start again. I'll give you my hand, and you go ahead and just shake it this time. And he licked it, and I licked his. And he said, ew. And I said, well, we're going to do this all day. So we started right off the bat, but then I said, okay, I tell you what, I'm going to come in the door again, and I'm going to look right in your eyes, and I'm going to tell you what I think about you. And it just went like that, one moment after another. It unfolded and unfolded. And my total intention the entire time was to get eye contact, to get his interest. I was manipulating him.
Okay. Can we go back to
Yes, Geoff, go.
when you first walked? How well did you know this boy before you licked his hand?
I had just met him.
Because he could have been digging somewhere,
I
and
can't
you
lick
just got
strange
all kinds of
kids.
chocolate chips.
This is a strange kid hand. I can lick it, but I need one of them alcohol pads. I'm on alcohol swab it first.
Hold on, pimp.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to take another quick break. When we come back,
Tell me what
Corey
you-
Holcomb is in the
You
building.
done put that.
Uncle Bobby, it's about to turn up another notch. We talking about manipulation in relationships and mass media and government and whatever. Manipulation is ubiquitous. How do we deal with it? How do we move forward? The questions are being asked. Hopefully answers are coming forth. We'll be back at 2.2. Zoe Williams! Oh!
I've manufactured controversies, done stunts, planted fake stories.
Hi,
I'm Tracy Oppenheimer for Reason TV. I'm here with Ryan Holiday, author of the new book, Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator. He's also been a media strategist for clients like Tucker Max, and he is the current director of marketing for American Apparel. Ryan, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
In your book, one of your main focal points is that blogs are really dictating what's news right now and feeding the top news dogs instead of the other way around. Why do you think this is?
The online cycle drives the offline cycle, and the reason for that is if you're a media producer, you're a radio producer, you're a television show host, you're a researcher, where are you finding out the things that you're going to talk about in your nightly or daily broadcast? You're not out like pounding the pavement, like sitting in some bar, like, listening for gossip. You're on the internet like everyone else. The mainstream media outlets have sort of taken on the role of popularizers. So they see what's being talked about on the internet, and then they say, hey, we've got a bigger audience. We're going to take this thing, and we're really going to blow it up. If this is what everyone's talking about, that's what we need to bring to our users. And so what happens is that things start on the internet for whatever reason, and then the next thing you know, they're on CNN.
And you make the claim that because blogs have an infinite amount of space to fill, the bar lowers for what the quality of their content. But because a lot of the mainstream news outlets have a lot of their content coming from online as well, isn't the bar lowered across the board?
Absolutely. I mean, we've always sort of joked about how having to fill a 24/7 cycle makes cable news just talk about total bullshit. Well, what if it was a infinite cycle? And yet, like Fox News can throw up a blog post, and depending on the response to that.
Wow. So not even the news can be trusted.
I met that young lady before. I just don't remember her name. I was trying to...
Speaking to Mike, Corey.
What is your name?
My name is Lynette Louise. Thank you for asking.
Louise.
And we call her the brain broad.
That's right. I met her before. I know her in television game. I remember she did the show before. You didn't say welcome back.
Hey, well, you know what? It ain't broke down, Bobby. Settle down. Jesus. Yeah, we on the air. You just came at her. That's how you get at.
You might want to look up there.
Might want to look up there to see.
That's us, Corey. That's us. We doing it.
So, Bobby G is in the building. Uncle Bobby just gave me a physical copy of the Real Men Don't Play book, and it is signed to me.
It lives.
It lives. It is alive.
It is a thing.
Right? So Bobby's in the building. Corey Holcomb has joined us.
Lord help us out.
It's about to get nuts up in here. We're talking about manipulation. I've already took my stance. I think manipulation is just another facet of the human condition. It's par for the course. It's how we get down. It's how we interface. No good or bad. Everybody can misuse it. My big mama used to say something like this. She said, everybody use each other. We just got to be careful not to misuse each other.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
I
what
love
Big
that.
Mama told me.
See?
So
God bless Big Mama.
Big Mama was cold, mean, little Scorpio, about 5 foot. Yeah, but she was cold.
Big Mama's a giant.
She was cold, but that's what she told me.
That's what's the problem with the world. Big Mama ain't but about 38 years old now.
Jesus. So let's ask about intimate relationships too. We already know the media is manipulating us. We already know that. We already know the government is manipulating us. We already know that. Let's go deeper into relationships, how we manipulate and misuse each other. And I don't think most people have the skill or the savvy to manipulate each other positively. Or otherwise, conflict wouldn't be so high in intimate relationships. Who disagrees with that?
I don't disagree.
Somebody
with
call
that.
me right now.
I'm
throwing it to the panel.
I don't even know if it's about that. I think it's when you first get a pheromone hit from someone that you're attracted to.
Say more about a pheromone.
Pheromones is that invisible stuff that just went in your nose and hit your brain really fast and made you go zip. I like that one.
Is there a you using me pheromone? Like this shit stank. Pheromone.
Yeah, actually there is. And there are periods of time when women are disgusted by their mates, so there's all kinds of stuff. But let's talk about you get that pheromone hit, you can't get that person out of your mind. You are like a drug addict. You are gonna do whatever it takes to get that person. So now you start out a manipulator. The question is, how quickly can you stop yourself and say, wait just a minute,
Anybody else
be me?
Anybody else hear the Prince song playing right now, Pheromone?
No, only Geoff, only you.
It's only you. She said, I don't think that there's any way that you cannot be manipulative. We were just talking about this in the break. Because, you can be manipulative in a negative way or in just a way that I'm just trying to get what I want. But even when you stop, sometimes people even use being honest as a way to be manipulative.
Give me an example of honesty. Give me that. I think you've used this.
I think that probably maybe,
Go deeper. Let's go.
Maybe that might be my strategy sometimes.
Like, hey, just tell us. Give us an example.
See, this is
I got a few.
You got a few?
Yeah.
Go. Give
No! Don't let Brandi off the hook.
Yeah.
God damn it!
See, you manipulating right now. There you go with your manipulating
I'm
bullshit.
manipulating
I would
now.
like to hear Geoff's example. That's honest.
No, Brandi, tell us.
I can't think of an example, but I can think of a way that I've been manipulating.
Damn. That's why people love you, Brandi.
I know.
Slippery.
I can give you one.
Yeah, go for it.
By bringing up the fact that you're going to be honest in order to manipulate someone, you brought up the fact that you're an honest person. You did that on the break. And so it's like saying, hello, by the way, I'm very honest, even though I manipulated.
Look here.
That's
Go
a
ahead.
manipulation.
Jeff and Corey, y'all do that.
Ready?
I manipulated my wife, straight up.
How'd you do that?
When she wasn't thinking about my monkey ass. When we first got together, I was in the friend zone. She told me that, and I said, okay, I'm going to start stacking up the mistakes that the friends made, and I'm going to climb the hell on out of here. And that's what I did. And I told her, I don't want to be your friend. My friends look like that. I don't have no fine friends. I don't have no fine friends.
I don't have no fine
My
friends.
friends look like that. These are my friends. I don't have many friends. These are my friends. I'm not hanging out with you for your stimulating chit chat. I don't need that from you.
Go ahead, Corey.
Well, I want to say this. I think the reason that people manipulate in relationships is because most of us try to overachieve. Here we go. No, when we pick the person that we want to be with, we always pick something that is not on our level. The overachiever in you makes you pick somebody that the only way you can be around them is to manipulate them. If we were honest with ourselves, we would pick a partner
that's on our level. Give me an example.
level, and you both can be happy together. But most relationships are a situation where somebody is with somebody that they know that person can do better than me. So I have to manipulate the whole time I'm around them.
I'm going to lie the whole time.
You have to, because you're out of your league with that person.
Dr. Gita and Bobby, this is going to be great.
So I need a fat, dishonest broad with a lazy eye is what I need to be doing.
Right. Shooting too high, right? Go ahead, Doc.
I think the brain broad's going to follow me on this thing. What's going on with manipulation?
That was manipulation. That was NLP. You invited her to follow you. Don't think I don't know that shit.
No, NLP, I hope she's tuning in. The Black Mastery. What's underneath manipulation is we're all drug addicts. And we're all and here's where we're all drug addicts. Talk about the media. I think there is something going on in the world called adrenaline blindness. And what that means is we will sell out happiness for excitement. We will sell out joy to have fun. And what happens is, the thrill of an adrenaline rush.
Can you speak to the difference between joy and fun? Because most people don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, there's joy is. I guess joy is when you see your kid break through in some way. You take a kind of joy in that. My God, he pushed himself to his limits. There's a joy in that.
Right.
Whereas fun and excitement is something that it personally wows you. But getting back to the adrenaline thing, the only thing bigger than an adrenaline rush is an adrenaline crash. And one of the reasons extreme athletes tend to all be ADD is they are generating adrenaline from excitement because they can't lose the high. But there's all kinds of other drugs. What Lynette said is we're also pheromone junkies, which means we're not geared to deal with the crash off these things. There's something called dopamine. That's a feeling of pleasure. And so what happens is we are all kind of manipulated internally by our
to get
efforts,
those triggers, right?
To keep those levels high.
Wow.
And what we're not geared to do is to deal with the crash off them, and that's what drives us. So when you have a taste of pheromones, when you have a taste of adrenaline, when you're on that crash, you'll do anything to get back.
So listen, when we come back from break, we've got another guest, Coach Byron Davis. He says manipulation is good. But before we get to him, we're going to go to Bobby, because Bobby is old school. I know Bobby knows some tricks about manipulation, some that have been played on him, and some he done played on others. And Real men don't play. We gonna see when we come back. I'll tell you that. So what mornings? Manipulation is the topic. We'll be back.
And now to an electronic immigrant who ought to be illegal, but apparently isn't. You can find him doing his stuff at 3 a.m. on Channel 9.
God has used Reverend Peter Popoff throughout his entire life and ministry to bring miraculous deliverance to hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
It's not clear, and the 9 network wouldn't tell us, whether Peter Popoff is paying to have his half-hour message aired. But whether he is or he isn't, it's clearly an exercise in spruiking a product. Miracle Spring Water.
We're going to share the miracle spring water with you. And I'm going to tell you how a Russian pastor found the miracle spring water, not on his own, but through divine leading and direction. And God miraculously spared, prospered, delivered him. And God wants to do the same for you as you use the miracle spring water.
And as you can see, this miracle water is absolutely free. Which is clever of the Reverend Popoff, because if he was selling you the miracle water, which he says has the power to transform your life, he'd be engaging in trade or commerce. And under the Trade Practices Act, a person or corporation
must not, in trade or commerce, engage in conduct that is liable to mislead the public about the nature of any services.
Jeez. You mean even Jesus is manipulating us?
Oh, yeah. They got something on there.
No, it's someone named Papa.
Your pussy fell out.
What?
Go get this lawsuit.
What?
You know that shit? The vaginal mesh shit? Where the girls got destroyed?
The cycle. There's a cycle.
What?
There's a cycle.
Everything you buy that you swallow is gonna fuck you up. You got to put that shit in your mouth, that's your ass.
The shit comes out. The shit comes out. Everybody buys it. 6 months later, all the lawyers are suing the people who made the shit.
If you were on testosterone therapy
Right.
and your left nut has fallen out of its sack, right?
If your balls now have eyes,
If your balls can see what you're saying,
You belong on YouTube. You'll get a lot of hits.
Bobby,
Yes.
talk to us about your experience with manipulators really quickly, and then we're going to go to our phone guest.
All right, I'll be real quick. For many years, I thought I was manipulating, but I was being played. And then I said, you know what, let me just try this honesty thing. And what happened was when I started being honest, I had to be honest with myself. I said, if I want it, I'm going to ask for it. And if I get it, I deserve it. So if I see a beautiful young lady like her, I'm out of my league, but I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do.
take a good hard swing.
Yeah. And
Might miss it by a foot. But
no, I want what I asked for.
Right.
By name.
Right.
You know.
What is that?
Can I have some? And
Yeah.
She looked at me too long.
You know what?
They'll call it manipulation.
Divine
That ain't
yoni.
manipulation.
Yeah.
That's me being honest with myself. You know, that which you seek is also seeking you.
Uh-oh.
And I
That
all these
sound like
other
gang.
phrases, if there's a cure for it, I don't want it.
I really feel like if there's a woman who doesn't excel in college, she should be trained to sell her vagina. And
What? Go deeper.
Wait,
If you don't
repeat
excel, if you don't excel in college, the reason I say college, because a lot of times when you excel, when you excel in college, they can find a place for you in the world. If you excel in college, they can justify putting you at a job that makes a decent amount of money. But if you can't excel in college, your pussy is your only outlet from poverty. And I feel like we should teach women who don't have it upstairs to hustle it downstairs. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be mean.
It would solve a lot
They don't
of.
have to manipulate.
Right.
so
Dr.
just
G.
go to guns. Just go to guns.
Wait. Dr. G has to bring us back with some whiteness. Can you purify the moment, please, with some of the whiteness? Please help us.
Oh, I want to address it
No,
too.
let her address it because I'm just thinking below the waist here. Go on.
Jesus.
No, actually,
Brain
I'm
broth,
going to
let's
be
go.
perfectly honest with you that I did that job,
Which one?
the below the waist. And
What?
yeah, absolutely.
Go deeper.
Absolutely.
What job did you do?
I did. I I was selling it out there when I was raising my kids. I didn't have any other way of taking care of them, and I had a 6-month stint of that, and I actually wrote a book about it.
Wow.
And it was a lifesaver. So you're right. Sometimes you got to sell what's working. And it was.
Now, see, Brandi?
It was.
She got something that'll sell when
Now, Brandi, what is your price?
No, it ain't even that. Brandi, this woman ain't even part of the team. And she done told the truth up in this piece.
It was the least manipulative sex I've ever had. And it was wonderful.
That's it. You took the middle.
That's what's missing in the world, and it's honesty. It's like stuff like that, what she said and what I said, it just sounds crazy to the common folk.
Right.
But for people who are not trying to be in the bind, the way society has you trapped, there's an outlet for women if you're willing to do it, and I can help you.
Your yoni is your Christ,
But it
your
sounds like-
Messiah.
but
it will save you.
But don't make a career out of it.
Okay, so listen.
Yeah.
So listen.
Get enough money to get on your feet.
You got to take your God hole and turn it into a man hole. You don't want to do that.
Wow. Take your God hole
Turn it
and
into
turn
a
it
man
into
hole.
a man hole. So listen, we have a reverend to bring on after that profound statement.
Oh, I pity him.
Money is productive.
Heaven help him.
War without money is foolish.
Byron Davis is on the line with us right now. He's got to come save us
Save us.
from this chicanery.
ourselves.
Save us from ourselves.
tomfoolery.
He says manipulation can be good. Former American record holder, Ironman, career coach, and founder of the Epic Life Project, Byron has a gift for helping people and, getting them unstuck and transforming their lives and, developing their passions and careers and, love life and all of that. You know what he does. Byron, come save us from ourselves and manipulation. Talk to us. I know you've been listening to the chicanery that's been going on here. Please go deeper into
Yeah,
manipulation.
manipulate us out of this bind.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for letting me be part of the conversation. I love the fact that this topic is on the table, manipulation.
Yeah.
Because I think the way, first of all, I believe the same as Dr. Lynette, who said that manipulation is maneuvering something. It's amoral. Okay, it's neither good or bad. We use the tool for good or bad. So let's just kind of put that on the table. And basically, one thing that we haven't talked about yet is how we as people, humans, manipulate ourselves.
Go deeper.
Yeah, I think that it's important for us in order to understand how to, because manipulation is a necessary tool for human survival. Okay, it's something that we need to have. All of us do it. All of us are impacted by it. We call it by different names: collaborative conversation, engagement, cooperation, teamwork. All of these things are derivatives of manipulation. I do certain things, you respond. Jazz artists and our poets have known this for a long time. When we connect with someone on an emotional level during an experience, like you and I are playing an instrument, we feed off of each other. We are manipulating each other. In fact, if we do it well enough, we're taking each other's game to another level. So this whole idea of manipulation, being good or bad, I say let's first learn how to manipulate ourselves, be masters of ourselves. Then we're better able to bring our authentic self to the equation, to the context.
Well, that was Byron, that was very eloquent and beautiful and cliche, by the way.
And above our pay grade here.
But what I'd like to know is, as a reverend, have you noticed the manipulation, the immoral manipulation of the church, especially with regards to black women, seeing that 85% of African-American women are in churches, the men aren't there. Are pastors manipulating the sisters? Go deeper.
And let's say, generally speaking, and Big Mama was right, though.
Big Mama wasn't bullshitting.
It was right when what you said earlier. It's how we use, misuse, or abuse that makes all the difference in the world. And so, there are, and again, you got to think about the traditional black church is driven, traditionally, stereotypically speaking, by an alpha male. An alpha male, a very charismatic person, a person who can evoke, provoke, and motivate to a certain extent. Now, if that person decides to use it not for the good, not for God, but for selfish motives and selfish gain, then again, it goes to show that, yes, you can use this tool for evil.
Wow, good point. Panel?
Do you take up a collection at your church?
Of course.
Let me say this. I am not a preaching pastor of a church. What I've done, I recognize that my call is to help people understand who they are in the context of God. And so that's why I launched the Ethic Life Project. So let me share the context as well, because I also believe that context determines experience.
Ooh, go deeper.
So my context is not in the traditional black church context.
Oh, I like that. That's good. Way to maneuver.
Rev, I'm gonna need to hear the difference. I'm gonna need to hear the difference.
I agree. He manipulated the shit out of me right now.
I got a lot of pain. I'm gonna need to hear the difference between what would be the difference between your construct and the common black church construct.
Okay, so the common black church. I'll try to keep it brief. Back when we as African Americans were not African Americans, we were slaves. One of the only positions of authority and of education was the pastor. The only position of intellectual freedom that black people were allowed to have came within the context of the church. So pretty soon, very quickly, that person who learned how to read, that person who learned how to use speech and rhythm and pattern and narrative in order to manipulate emotions and feelings to help us embrace hope, to get by, those people or persons rose to a position of prominence. Okay, so that's how the black church, grew. And the reason why more African American women still to this day make up the vast majority of the African American church
is because men run on logic.
Exactly.
Question.
Exactly.
Question. You did go to seminary school? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so then you are aware that Jesus, the Jesus story, was told 12 times in history, thousands of years before
I knew Geoff was going to go in. I knew it.
I'm just asking.
I told Linda. I said, as soon as you
yes
book
or
the
no,
Reverend,
so yes
Geoff's
or no,
gonna go in.
yes or no, Rev, if you know that, and you are not teaching your congregation that Dionysus and Horus and the other 10
Mithra
and Zoroaster, all of these
Krishna, Buddha,
yes, that all of these stories come before Jesus. Are you not being somehow manipulative if you don't say that on Sunday?
But most black preachers.
Well,
they gonna fuck up their money now.
First of all, you're making an assumption.
No, I'm not. I didn't assume anything. I said I'll say it again. In seminary school, did they teach you that there are 10 men who have names before Jesus who have that story thousands of years before him? Yes or no?
In most seminaries, they do not teach that.
Oh,
now,
that's the problem.
I learned that. Yes. So if the question
are you aware of that? Is this the first time you've heard that?
The question is, do they teach that in traditional Western seminary? The answer is no.
Whoops, my bad.
Now,
have you ever heard this before?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe it to be true?
I knew it. He was just going to grind down. I just knew it.
Yeah,
I believe that to be true.
This is where I'm different than other traditional black pastors.
So yes or no?
I believe
yes or no?
Okay, we're going to pull. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to step in because I heard somebody say, get him off him.
Okay.
I'm going to pull Geoff
Put
off.
me back in the cage.
I'm
going to pull Geoff off.
But
Bobby?
how about this? So we can stay on task. If you want me to come back on the show to talk about this specific topic, I'll be open to it.
Yes,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Excellent. But stay with us.
I'll
We're going to a
be
quick
here
break. Bobby has a point to take us out really quickly.
Yeah.
Quick, Bobby.
Has there been anybody since Jesus that had a job? He was a carpenter last I checked.
Exactly.
Damn it, Bobby, that's what you was
I believe in that.
We'll be back at 2.2. This shit is getting crazy. The Zoe Up Morning Show. We talking about manipulation, and once we get on religion, off the rails we go. We'll be back at 2.2.
Oh my God, how he has a rap career is beyond me. I don't get it. and he takes his shirt off. Oh my God, he looks like 50 pounds of chewed Tootsie Rolls. All right. Now, you are in white fashion. You know white boys always leave the house like they're finna help somebody move. To enlist and defend the horrible hoes. There are some horrible people. And what you need to do is start policing your own. All right, hit me this morning on Facebook. A black woman posted something about how they are opening their options up to date out of their race, and they don't care if black men are angry. Ladies, black ladies who are watching the show, I had great news for you. We don't give a shit. We don't care. We don't care. Go and be free. I don't know if you've checked, but last time I checked, there is no great American black woman shortage. Go. Other than the Nation of Islam, there are no brothers losing any sleep about who you screw. If the 8 out of 10 of you, we're tired of. 8 out of 10 of you. We have just, in the words of Tommy Lee, the famous, fantastic drummer for Motley Crue, when asked about Pamela Anderson, you show me the finest woman in the world, and I'll show you a man that's tired of her shit. Okay? We don't care. You're not getting even with us. Stop trying to pull even with us. We are beneath you. Men are beneath you. That's why it's not okay to fuck like we do. When is the last time you had to talk a man into fucking you? Pussy is earned, dick isn't. That's the difference, okay? When is the last time you had to wash your car and cut your hair and look like you had some money and look like you were interested in our gender-specific shit just long enough to get in our pants? You don't have to do that. You don't even have to show up clean. If you're fine enough, we'll bathe you before we fuck you.
Wow.
We don't care. I'm done.
The intellectual rant, ladies and gentlemen, crazy. We got to get back to the topic. Okay. What you got for me, Bobby?
Now, she went to the ladies' room, right?
And freshened up.
Manipulated.
Yeah. Shut this
It's hot. It's a lot of body.
Let the milk pillows out in stereo, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, there's something about them. My wife got them teacups. I love teacup
yes,
titties. Okay,
indeed.
the big ones,
little handfuls of just lusciousness.
Can I keep going for a second? Yeah. Those of you with huge titties. Fellas, young dude on the booth, understand that big titties do not end well. Gravity. Maybe if she lived on the moon, but I've never seen a set of double D's that didn't wind up looking like a pair of bozo shoes over her shoulder. They end bad. Stay with the teacups.
I mean, it looked like Rolos without the chocolate.
Oh my God.
Big titties in the summertime stank like a
Yeah.
Chest and meat touch.
Yeah. You got to get them meat flaps up and get up onto that better.
Oh my goodness. Can we?
Can we?
Can I get it?
Can we come back?
Get back on
Oh, hey, Rev, I didn't know you was there. I'm talking about teacup titties and everything.
Hey, Reverend. Hey, you let me run my show the way I want, brother. There's a bunch of jokes going on here, and you don't get to interfere and try to manipulate.
You better shake the dust from your feet.
You manipulate your parishioners, but you don't manipulate over here.
You better let these swine run on in the river.
And you just wait until I bring you back in here, Reverend.
You're going to paradise.
Yeah. I thought he was going to answer Is he back with my answer to my question? Or are we on that?
He got to answer. Let's ask him if he has an answer to your question, Geoff.
Yes.
What was that question?
I'll refresh the question. If you are aware that this is empirical evidence, factual evidence, that there are 10 versions of the Jesus story before the Jesus that generally black churches preach about, parenthetically, the name Jesus starts with a J.
Okay, Geoff.
Jesus is 2,000 years old. The letter J is only 900. That aside, if you are aware that there are 10 versions of this, and you do not tell your congregation, when I say Jesus, I could mean Dionysus or Horus, isn't that a form of manipulation? Yes or no?
Lying, basically.
Yeah, or
if you know
can go that
if
way.
you know the knowledge and you don't if you know the knowledge and you don't deliver it to your people, are you manipulating?
Come back for that, but I want to hear it.
Reverend, what he's asking, let me translate this into Whitey thing.
yes,
what he's asking. No, what he's asking.
I'm talking to a black man. You don't have to do that, but go ahead. You know what I'm saying.
No. What I no.
You know good and hell well what I'm saying.
No, yeah. What he's saying is, why should I believe, trust, or have confidence in you?
Good stuff.
Is he there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to make sure that I stay on point with the answer.
No, it's not you. It's not you personally. It's the view about how religion has manipulated maybe as many people as it's helped. So
Clean it up, Doc. I love it.
So let me answer
Forget
this.
about it.
Yeah, the man.
Again, because it's a loaded question. We can agree to that because you already have an endpoint.
Yes,
and
all of my questions are loaded.
They're manipulative.
So
they're loaded with facts.
Your question was very coercive. Agreed?
Say again?
Just answer the question.
Your question was coercive. No, the reason why, again, we have to establish context in order to give a great answer. I'm not trying to run around the answer.
Sounds like it, but
okay. So the question was coercive. Basically, you give me an end point. Now, I would agree personally. I would say yes, you are correct.
Okay.
Now, if I'm speaking for the black church, if I'm the voice right now on this panel for the
just your
general
church.
Christian church, I would argue no, it's not coercive.
No.
But I personally believe it is.
Okay.
Wait, back up.
Can we get back to the topic, Jeff?
Yes. Because I didn't ask him about the entire black church. I asked you about this Sunday. Okay.
We can't reel you in.
No. Okay.
Yeah, let's do the because I think it's for the value of the viewer. Yeah. For people who really want to know this,
they want to know.
Should do a show on this, not necessarily.
No, we've done a show on it. We've done a show. He just wanted to see if you were going to answer the question.
We were going to see if you.
And there's been a lot of tap dancing going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to move on.
He's ill prepared to tell the truth.
So what's my answer? As a recap, you tell me what my answer was.
His answer was
yes and
he
no.
said yes and no.
How is that even possible?
Yes for who and no for who? Yes for who and no for who?
No.
Religion's supposed to be manipulative.
Oh, go in, please.
Thank you.
The brain power.
Religion is supposed to be manipulative.
Talk to us.
All sales-oriented things.
Religion is sales. Oh,
manipulative.
Oh, hallelujah.
Every single
You are
thing
lucky I'm married, woman.
is supposed to be manipulative. It is your job. This is what you're not giving people, is something they can hook onto and help themselves with, and I'm going to do it right now. You're supposed to manipulate. You're supposed to be manipulated. The way to walk through life in a way that empowers you is to understand that your brain is set up to give you information according to your emotions. So if you're feeling depressed, you're going to get a whole lot of different information from your brain about the truth about the world than you're going to get from your brain if you're happy.
Wow.
And if you're curious, and if you whatever emotion you're having. So the way for you to make sure you're solid and you're strong is to go, what am I feeling and what do I want to feel, and start there.
I think that's
that was good. That was heat.
That was well said.
That was heat. Hey, Byron.
If you go off feelings, you're in trouble.
Go ahead. Say it in the mic.
Well, I was just saying, like, if you live your life based off how you feel, you in trouble. Like when I came in here today, it was this thing fucking with me, and I felt like cussing it out. But I try to be a person who conducts himself in a way where people may have something to say about me, but I try to be fair. And I try to give you warnings, leave me the fuck alone. But if I live my life on how I feel, you would have heard dinosaur milk, bitch, get the fuck away from me. But I didn't say that.
Just say dinosaur milk.
Right. I didn't say that. That's why feelings must be
Byron, hold on. We got to take a break. You hear the music. We got to take a break. When we come back, Jesus Christ.
I love you, Ram.
We love you, Ram. We'll be back.
Come on back. This room is hot today. You know I'm going to keep it on fire.
What forces are these faith healers unleashing? What magic are they performing? The answers lie deep within ourselves. Across the millions of years of man's evolution, the most important development for the survival and eventual dominance of our species was the enlargement of this area of the brain, the frontal lobes, which give us powers of self-control, organization, and the ability to anticipate, to see ahead. But there was a terrible price to pay. We humans are the only living creatures that can foresee our own inevitable decay and death. To compensate for this fearful understanding, there was a parallel development in the human brain. As the frontal lobes were expanding, the temporal lobes and the limbic system were shifting and regrouping, opening the gateway to memory, creativity, emotion, and fantasy. We gain strength from the belief that a soul, a spirit, lives on in another life or another realm when the body dies. We developed a religious sense. But even before we die, religions offer us the possibility of short-term victories over disease and death. And in spite of the many advances in modern medical science, millions of people are still turning to religious healers for miracles. Although we could find no evidence of cures at these events, something was happening in the heat of the moment. On and off stage, people were breaking through pain barriers and performing feats they had hitherto thought impossible. Many remained convinced they had been cured, whatever doctors and specialists.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Zoa Morning Show has returned. We were just watching a video about the psychology of faith healers.
Yes.
I mean, the psychosomatic connection is a real thing. Psychosomatic. Psycho, mind, somatic, body. The mind-body connection is real.
If I think I'm sick, I'm sick.
Yeah, and you can elicit, different responses in the body.
Yeah, I got a challenge.
Just don't cut me off. Didn't you write, just listen? But, go ahead. You white and all. You can do that. Go ahead, Dr. G.
Okay, this is the white elephant in the room. I want to throw this out to Corey and Geoff. I think what the Reverend was trying to say, or challenge you, but he didn't get a chance, is do you think to have faith makes you a fool?
Ooh.
That you shouldn't have faith in anything that you can't see, that's not verified by reality, that it's just it's an expression of weakness. Do you think anyone who has faith is a fool?
Can I get that?
Yeah.
No, I think that's real quick. When I was 9 years old,
you were never 9.
That's hilarious. We opened the refrigerator. There was nothing there but the light and a box of baking soda. My grandmama made us hold hands and pray. We stand in a circle. She started crying and praying, Lord, I don't know where I'm going to get it, but I need $200 to feed these kids. 20 minutes later, my Uncle Gerald, we haven't seen in years, standing in my grandmother's house with tears in his eyes. He said, 20 minutes ago, something made me drive here and told me to give you this. What do you think that this was? It was $200. I believe there is a God. Here's my problem.
And that's when $200 meant something.
And that's when you could do something with $200.
Right here.
Okay? My problem, my faith, is in what I have had come to me because I asked the Creator to bring it to me. What is the truth? A month later, I was standing in Egypt looking at Egyptian caves with Horus on them. And this is the same story. I had somebody evaluate it. That's the Jesus story. That's why I can't go that way.
Can I say something?
Okay, say it really quickly, because we have another guest on the line. We got rid of the Reverend. We bid him assalamu alaikum.
Right.
He gone. And now Corey.
I mean, like, I think everybody, faith, I'm not knocking anybody's faith, but I'm telling you, people show you who they are. When Geoff asked the man a question, he dodged the question, not because I feel like he was trying to do something wrong. It's just he didn't have the knowledge to answer the question. That's why I have so much respect for somebody who is a reverend preacher, whatever, like Farrakhan, because I've never seen him get caught up when somebody asks him a question. He answers the question every time, and his answers, for the most part, make sense. Yeah. But the people who are asking the question, they're just like, oh.
They call him a lot of things. I've heard Farrakhan call a lot of things. I've never heard him call a liar.
Hey,
really quickly.
Faith is faith when that's all you holding on to.
Right.
See, when people talk about they religious, it's easy to be religious when things are going well. Because God answers all prayers. Most of them is no.
Wow.
But when you in that water, when the Titanic sank, I don't care how much you went to church, it's like, I'm about to float on this bitch head until the boat comes. All your religion gone.
God brought this bitch's head to me to keep me afloat.
Thank you, Lord, for this bitch's big ass head.
So really quickly, we have another guest on the line. Colin Christopher is a hypnotist, right? Has been in front of over 250,000 people throughout North America over the past 14 years and has shared stages with world-class speakers like Bob Proctor, Steve Steibold, and Brian Tracy. Some of his clients include McDonald's, Bell Mobility, and Princess Cruise Lines. I don't know who he's hypnotizing on there, but we're going to see. Colin is a clinical hypnotherapist and hypnosis instructor certified by the American Council of Hypnotists. Listen, he's on right now. I'm not going to read his whole dossier. You need to come in here and clear this stuff up about manipulation and how pervasive it is. What about this, Colin? How can someone know when their partner is maliciously manipulating them? What about gaslighting, right? That's a form of manipulation. Can we go deeper into the pervasiveness of manipulation as it pertains to intimate relationship? Go deeper.
Yeah, certainly. I think what happens when you're in a relationship where you're being manipulated negatively by somebody, you get these feelings that something doesn't quite feel right or isn't happening the way you want it to. Typically, in a relationship that's going well, you're manipulating reciprocally in a way that's positive, so that both of you are getting a good benefit in the end. But typically, when you're in a relationship where things aren't going well, it's because somebody is doing something and using you to an extent that you aren't being reciprocated. You're not getting like that. What we were talking about earlier with the give and take and reciprocation. You're just not getting enough of it.
What about if the manipulator is someone that you love dearly, like your mother? What if the manipulation is coming from your parents? I mean, a lot of times shame is used to mold children, right? Guilt is used to mold children. Go deeper into the ratchet motherhood cycle. And when I say ratchet, I don't mean just the 36-year-old grandmama. I mean the old guard, right? Old folk who got younger children who manipulate them because they want them to walk a certain path in life. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, typically what happens is sooner or later you get to a point in age as you've grown up, and you realize that the person is being manipulative of you, and then you have to make a conscious decision whether you want to change that. It's not about not loving the person anymore. It's more about identifying how they're manipulating you, and then not being emotionally triggered by those manipulations, so that you do things that you don't want to do. You can easily walk up to somebody and say, you know what, I love you. I see what you're doing, but I don't want to do that anymore. I can't do that. This is how I want to do something.
But Colin, in normal relationship, when we find out that someone is manipulating us, we tend to discard them. They are, placed in a space of contempt. But what happens with mama, to me, the mother position is one that is beyond reproach. I know a lot of people. I know a young lady whose mother burned her with cigarettes when she was 3. Right? I know a woman whose mother put her in I don't want to put her business out there, but in a really negative situation where the mama was somewhat low-key. I don't want to say
Bitches
it, but
be jealous because they daughter cute. Nobody say nothing about that, though.
Okay, so we have the brain broad in the studio as well. Talk to me about that.
Itching to jump in on this.
Speak on it.
Okay, first of all, I think we just don't teach people the right things in the first place. We say, hey, you're supposed to love your children no matter what, and we want you to love them and let them grow and be whoever they want to be as long as they go to college and get this and do that. And then the parent is stuck trying to enforce what they think will make their child happy later, not now, later. It's all incorrect, and it's set up incorrectly. And the worst part is we are copycatters.
Go deeper. Say more.
Wow.
For example, when somebody... it's impossible to run the 4-minute mile. Somebody finally does it, and then everyone can do it.
Right.
So the minute...
vector. They crossed a vector.
Right. That's the positive version of that, but there's the negative version. If somebody kills himself a certain way, all of a sudden a bunch of people kill themselves a certain way. If somebody beats their child and they get talking and they get, putting their heads together and going, well, spare the rod, spoil the child, and all that stuff. And the next thing you know, you've got a neighborhood behaving in a certain way.
Toe up.
It's not untrue that how you were raised is how you then parent, because you only have that information. Fortunately, you also have the ability to say, I don't want to parent that way, and nowadays there's more information available than ever before.
So, Dr. G, Brain Broad, Lynette, Brain Broad.
I like Brain Broad.
Colin, right? Bobby, Corey, Brandi, and Geoff. Would you then say, this is the question to the panel, would you then say, you're not really an adult until you come out from under the influence of that manipulative parent?
Hallelujah. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, or
Corey?
The story about your dog.
Yeah, do the dog.
Go ahead.
The dog story.
Okay,
Well,
yeah. No,
after the
so
break,
that was some
after the
deep
break.
shit you really just said.
I just
right
had to
there.
throw it out there. Like
That shit was killer. I caught it. I don't be missing shit. That was deep.
Woo! Let's go, Corey. Tell us. The music is on. Hit it.
Oh, well, I was just saying about manipulation. I'm gonna try to be as fast as I can. I have a dog, and at one time, me and my wife were separated. And when I was alone with the dog very quickly caught on that he can't piss around the house, and he can't jump up on the couch. But when my people came back, all of a sudden the dog started treating me like they do. I tell the dog to get off the couch. The dog, he can't say it in human words, but he look at me like, motherfucker, what you finna do? But before the people who I live with came back, me and the dog had a clear understanding. So that's all I'm trying to say is bitches shut the fuck up and follow the leader. Go ahead.
We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, So What Mornings, yeah!
Morning, how do you do? You have a couple minutes, like talking? No, a couple minutes. Your name is Beckwith? Beckwith. Right. And yours is Fulton. Fulton. Right. From which, New York. New York, there's only one. Only one here. It's probably what you assumed we came for, to obtain any information you want to give us about the Muslims. I didn't assume anything. No. That's a very general statement on my part, but as you know, we follow the activities of the Muslims as best we can. But we're always looking for new avenues of information, and who better than the head of the Muslims. At least up to a month ago or something like that.
You're wondering, how's your suspension status?
No one knows but Mr. Muhammad. You have to ask him.
You're still in the status as of now. I mean, you're not working now, or teaching now at all.
Well, I'm still under the suspension.
That's what I meant.
That's a temporary thing, as far as we know. He's the only one who can give out any information on that. I couldn't say anything beyond what he has said. Yeah, I think he has said that it's a temporary suspension. I'll be frank with you, one of the reasons we picked this particular time to contact you is because of this suspension. The suspension was brought about by my own doing. Yeah, exactly. But who knows what was in your mind when you did receive the suspension. In other words, bitterness could have entered into it. It would not be illogical for someone to have spent so many years doing something then be suspended. No, it should make him stronger because it makes him realize that law applies to the law enforcer as well as those who are under the enforcement of the enforcer. Well, you've taken nearly a perfect attitude toward the thing, which is almost unhuman, really. I mean, you've taken the attitude that Mr. Muhammad wants everyone to take if he chastises them. Which is fine. I mean, more power to you. But you see it from our viewpoint that there's at least a chance, and this has happened with other members of the organization. They're suspended for some reason or other. And we talk to them, and they, that's damn people up there, and they're, of course, cooperative. Why? Because they're bitter. Now, assuming you resume your duties, we would be, as you I'm sure know, interested in having you help us out.
Help you out to do what? We're always helping out the government. We're cleaning up all of the crime that we help it out more than it helps itself. We're at least able to reform the people who have been made criminals by this society, by the corruption of this society.
Here we come.
Oh, yeah, me. I'm talking about everybody. It's possible.
Oh, the war is for.
Wow. Really quickly, that video was a video of the audio of the FBI trying to convince El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, otherwise known as Malcolm X, to turn and tell on the Nation of Islam. And they came to him specifically after he was placed on suspension. I didn't want to play the whole video because I wanted you guys to go search it on YouTube, find it, and listen to it, because the way he dealt with him was the manifestation and the exemplification of integrity. The brother said, the suspension makes me stronger. He didn't tell, we want you to give up the names and the this, and they said, no, I don't have the names, I don't know nothing. Even though he knew the nation was on him. He knew that there was an issue between him and the nation, and he still stood his ground to protect those other brothers. Let me tell you something about manipulation. I believe it is a part of the human condition, but I also believe it offers us a stair step to overcome some of the shortcomings of what the human condition contains. He chose integrity at the cost of his life. The way we interface is from a selfish, survival, reptilian brain space. We have a frontal lobe. We can choose to use it, or we can choose to stay basic, selfish, greedy, manipulative, whether you can say good or bad. At the end of the day, when we manipulate people without their intentions, and we manipulate them from a space of negative intentions, we are no different than a great white shark who attacks from behind. We're no different than any other predator who uses stealth, right? That manipulates the landscape in order to chase down something. We're no different. People say, oh, humans aren't animals. Yeah, we are. And manipulation is the manifestation of that mechanism. So, with that said, I urge us to use, because Dr. G says it great, and Corey said it great. There's a moment when you can pause, when you can make a choice. Should I take advantage of this situation, knowing that this situation is just about me getting mine? Or should I try to do something more, right? Most people are not thinking about more. And when they are, it's about how much more can I get? How much more can I do, right? They're not thinking in a collective sense. And for the African American community particularly, that's one of our greatest weaknesses. We prey on each other more than we prey on anybody else. Am I lying? We manipulate each other more than we manipulate anybody else. We're afraid to manipulate anybody else, but we are all too willing to manipulate our own community. And it's a cold situation. So with that said, that's my final thought. What I would like to do, Colin yes, Christopher, the hypnotist, where can people find you? Website, Twitter, Instagram, where are you?
On ColinChristopher.com.
ColinChristopher.com, that's it? You have any books? What's happening? I want people to go buy your books.
Yeah, certainly. I have a book called Success Through Manipulation, Subconscious Reactions That'll Make or Break You.
Wow. See what I mean? Hey, man, I really appreciate you for calling in and tuning in and following us. You added very, very deep amount of value to the show. We appreciate you. Thank you for being a guest on the show. Now let me go on to my friend, my good friend now. She'll be coming back for sure.
Thank you.
The Brain Broad. Where can they find you?
Well, probably the easiest way is to Google the Brain Broad, because they'll know how to spell it.
You're a great guest.
Oh, thank you so much.
We really appreciate you. You hung with us. You told us you sold a cooter and saved your life. I really appreciate you.
Can I also sell my book here and tell you that I have have a brand new book out. I have the one I referred to about selling my coochie is called Geoff, A Sexually Realized Spiritual Odyssey of Stepping into Love, and you can go ahead and buy that. But the one that I'd really like to highlight is called The Wingmaker. It's brand new. It's a short, beautiful story. It's a true story, and it'll change your life. It'll manipulate you into a beautiful place.
Excellent, excellent. Brandi, really quickly, let's go.
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Brandi Magee, BrandiMagee, and Instagram, Princess Wildflower. And tomorrow on The Voice of Reason,
Yes.
RMC on Live.
Let's keep it going. Bobby J.
Twitter at Glanton-Smith, website realmendon'tplay.com. And so I got to give it to you, brother. You put it down today, man.
Hey, my new line, hiploose.com, The Line of Succession by Zoe Williams.
MarkGoulston.com. We're in a rush here.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for buying the Jeff Brown ringtones that you have been buying.
Keep buying them.
At Jeff Brown's fan spot. Thank you for that so much. Twitter at GB Funny Stuff.
30 seconds.
Yep.
All right, I want to say, Colin Christensen, you did a great job representing yourself when you spoke. And to the preacher brother, I wish you the best, but you got to work on that, man. Your congregation is hoping you can represent a little better when you get asked questions. I'm just saying, for real.
Where can they find you?
Well, I'm at D. Corey Holcomb, but this week at the Pittsburgh Improv on Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be there bringing the positive to the negative in my presentation.
There we go. Zoe What Mornings, you know where to find me, at Zoe Williams on Twitter, at Mr. Zoe What Instagram. We'll see you next week. Holla!
Yeah, great show, man.
Awesome.
I just wasn't ready, man.